We all know Chick Hicks as the annoying race car with an obsession with winning the Piston Cup. He was the main antagonist in the first Cars movie, and we also saw him return in Cars 3. But there are stories going around that Chick Hicks used to be kind of a good guy, but his dad's influence was what drove him to his villainous nature. They say that he even gave up a win to save an injured car, but this made Chick's father really mad at him, as he believed that winning a race is far more than sportsmanship. This soon changed Chick Hicks's view on racing, and made him a glory-hunting maniac that would give up absolutely anything in the world to cross the finish line first. He is a very dirty cheater, with so many horrible tricks up his sleeves. Chick, the most annoying car in McQueen's life for the first movie. We see him race against McQueen and strip the King Weathers for the Piston Cup, which he won by chance. However, no one really cared about this victory, as the main highlight was McQueen giving up his lead to save the King after Chick crashed him. To get his revenge, Chick returned as a reporter for RSN in Cars 3 and spent most of his screen time running down Lightning McQueen. Being a cheat is horrible, but if you think Chick Hicks is bad, then nothing will prepare you for the next villain. Do you remember the sneaky Miles Axelrod from Cars 2? On the outside, he is the millionaire CEO of the Axelrod Industries and the creator of the alternative fuel, Allanol, but in reality, he is the evil leader of the Lemon Cars who wants to make profit from his dangerous alternative fuel and destroy race cars. Axelrod was a traveler that was famous for going without navigation, but he got lost and ran out of fuel. However, after a couple of months, he returned looking clean with a new electric setup. He then claimed to have sold his company, created clean-burning alternative fuel, and hosted a World Grand Prix for the best race cars from across the world to use his Allanol. Sir Axelrod is crafty and wicked. He secretly controlled the Lemon Cars gang, a group of unappealing and unwanted evil vehicles that hate the world for giving up on them, and wanted to completely destroy race cars with his dangerous alternative fuel. Despite claiming to have fully gone electric, it was also later revealed that he actually wasn't an electric car and still ran on oil. When he had an oil leak in public, he even blamed Mater for it. Mater didn't let Axelrod get away with all of it, and showed how smart he actually can be when it matters. He somehow made use of his brain and revealed all of Sir Axelrod's bad deeds, and got him arrested in London. Speaking of Mater, what if I told you he was also a villain despite being McQueen's best buddy and probably the sweetest guy in Radiator Springs? And although he is generally one of the friendliest and most kind cars of all time, in the Cars 2 movie, he unintentionally became a problem. After McQueen finally allowed Mater to come alongside him for the World Grand Prix, Mater continually disrupted McQueen's journey and race. He embarrassed McQueen many times and even caused him to lose a race, after sending in the wrong instructions while McQueen was on the racetrack, because he was talking with someone else. A lot of fans also feel Mater was a kind of meta villain in Cars 2. A meta villain is a character that is bad to the storyline even if they play a good role in the movie. With that being said, let's get back to the real villains, because the next one is really twisted and not just a good guy behind the rust. Because Professor Zundap, or Professor Z, is an evil German scientist and engineer that worked with Sir Miles Axelrod in the Allanol scheme. He is also the pain in the ass to secret agent Finn McMissile. He was in charge of the exploding engines during the World Grand Prix races and the leader of the Lemon Cars during their meetings. Professor Zundap is a ruthless killer and weapon designer. He created the EMP weapon that causes a reaction to the Allanol using vehicles. Zundap's EMP weapon caused a disaster during the World Grand Prix, as a number of cars exploded due to the Allanol reaction. Zundap also used this weapon to kill Rod Redline, one of Finn McMissile's contacts, and along with his lemons, killed Leland Turbo by crushing him into a cube. And I think we all know he also attempted to kill McQueen and planted a bomb in Mater. But the good news is that Zundap later gets arrested alongside Sir Axelrod in London. Zundap was more of a schemer and creator in the Lemon Car gang. While he drew out the dirty mappings, the duo we have next were in charge of doing the real work, because Gre and Acer are partners in crime and henchmen to Professor Zundap. The two are more like the operators in the Lemon Cars gang, as they are sent to execute Zundap's evil plans. While Grem is heartless, arrogant, cold-hearted, and violent, Acer's dark side is fueled by his low self-esteem. Grem is from the Gremlin crime family, while Acer is a member of the Pacers. The two were responsible for blowing up race cars with Professor Zundap's weapon during the World Grand Prix. They also had a couple of fights with McMissile and abducted him, Holly, and Mater in London. During a fight, however, Holly crashed Gre and Acer into a pub, and the customers weren't very happy about it. Although we don't know how they met their end, the closest conclusion is that they got beaten up until they got arrested. Not all of the villains in the Cars franchise are actually vehicles. This next one is more aquatic. Tony Trihole is a massive combat ship that works for the Lemon Cars gang. He was the group's ride and also served as a guard in certain instances. During the start of Cars 2, he threatens to kill Krabby, a cargo boat that carried Finn McMissile, because it floated close to him during one of the Lemon meetings. Tony is a mean boat and even tries to shoot McMissile multiple times when he was trying to capture Professor Zundap. However, McMissile releases his sticky charges and they stick to Tony's magnetic board, which then blows him up. But if they sounded bad, make sure you stay for the next one, because he was next level evil. Because Jackson Storm is an arrogant and egotistic new generation race car that appears as the main antagonist in Cars 3. Jackson Storm used to be a cyber sportsman on the Super Corsa 3 video game, but after coming in contact with Axel P. Biggs, he became a real-life racer. However, he got dismissed from Axel's team after falling out with his teammates for very petty and selfish reasons. Well, who would have expected that? Jackson still is an amazing race car, and in the beginning, he seems to be the best from the new generation race cars we see in Cars 3, but he is very rude, mean, and cocky. He made McQueen's 10th race year a living hell, not only by being an unbeatable competitor, but by constantly throwing insults and mean comments towards McQueen. He is very selfish and doesn't care about anyone but himself. We see that coming back in his final race with Cruz Ramirez. Just before she beats him for the Piston Cup, he tries to crash her off the road, and if you would tell me he has some relatives in the Lemon Car gang, I would believe you right away, because they are the biggest crime group in the Cars universe. There are 4 main families that make up this gang, which brings us to our next villains. Let's start with the worst one right away, because the Hugos are the most respected of the 4 crime families that make up the Lemon Cars gang. The German crime family is headed by Victor Hugo, a top member of the Lemon Board, and although he cannot drive around on his own, he is towed around by Ivan, a big truck and family relative. Alexander Hugo is also another notable member of the Hugo family, particularly for being wanted in 4 countries, and this cute photo of him in a party hat. The Hugos are hostile, cruel, and mean cars, and are loyal to Professor Zundap and Sir Axelrod. However, most of them are currently either dead or in jail now. The Pacers are also one of the 4 crime families. The American model family is made up of 14 members, including Tubbs Pacer, the leader and a wanted vehicle in Afghanistan, Chechnya, and Nigeria. Acer, one of Zundap's main henchmen, PD Pacer, Jerome Rampt, and Fred Pacer. The family worked for Sir Miles Axelrod and were huge supporters of the Alanol project. However, they all got arrested after Mater's revelation, while Fred Pacer was crushed to death by an elevator. The Trunkovs are the 3rd crime family, and they are of Russian descent. Their leader, Vladimir Trunkov, is wanted in France, Germany, Serbia, and interestingly in the Republic of Ryarendia. Some other members of the Trunkov family include Petrov and Tolga Trunkov, and although they don't play major roles in the Alanol disaster, the Trunkovs are the biggest Lemon family in Cars 2. The final major crime family is the Gremlins. The Gremlins are an American household of crime, with key members of the Lemon gang like J. Kirby Gremlin, the head of the family and a notorious terrorist, and Grem, the muscle of the gang and one of Professor Zundap's top-ranking henchmen. Most of the Gremlins were sent to prison, while others died in various parts of the Cars 2 movie. This next villain almost made the roads very unsafe for drivers with his horrible business. Big D is the villain in the episode Mater Private Eye from the spin-off series Cars Toons, Mater's Tall Tales. He is a criminal mastermind and runs a pirated tire trafficking operation, which involves him selling fake Lightyear wheels. He calls his Lightyear, and they are infamous for blowing up and causing disastrous accidents for its users. When Private Eye Mater started to investigate the illegal tire business, Big D carnapped Mia with the plan of luring Mater into a trap. Mater manages to track him down, but Big D captures him and tries to drown Mater. However, with the help of Lieutenant McQueen and the rest of the police force, Big D is arrested and sent to prison for his crimes. Our next villain is so evil, he has a whole army of trained martial art fighters. Kabutoo is an arrogant Japanese drift racer that appears in the Cars Toons series. He is Mater's nemesis, whose main goal is to be recognized as the greatest drift car of all time. During a tow journey to Tokyo, Mater accidentally runs into Kabutoo, and although the impact is very minimal, Kabutoo gets furious at Mater and challenges him to a drift race, saying that whoever wins would be crowned the king of all drift racers. The two then race to the top of the Tokyo Tower, but all through Kabutoo tries to cheat his way across the finish line by continuously crashing into Mater, and at some point summoned his ninjas to attack him. However, Mater still finishes first, and as a result of their agreement, Kabutoo is stripped of all his modifications and is left as an ordinary stock car. This made him very furious, and he attempted to push Mater from the top of the tower. However, Dragon McQueen saved Mater's life from what would have certainly been his end. The next villain might not look so evil on the outside, but there's a little secret about him that will change the way you see him completely. Because do you remember Mr. Sterling, the millionaire business car that bought the Rusty's Racing Center from its former owners, Rusty and Dusty? Sterling's wealth came from his mudflap business in the Eastern Seaboard, and it was so successful he gained the nickname the Mudflap King. When Sterling takes over Rust-Uz, his main goal is to retire McQueen and transform him to a brand that he can make profit from. He wanted to rule McQueen out from racing and put his face on merchandise. After McQueen's terrible accident, Sterling makes a deal with him, saying that if McQueen doesn't win at the Florida 500 race, he would force him to retire. However, with the help of Cruz, McQueen eventually wins the race. But that doesn't mean Mr. Sterling was really happy about it. He still is a pretty rude and arrogant guy and treats his employees, especially Cruz, very bad. When she came out to the racetracks to watch McQueen's race, he yelled at her to go back to the training center. After Cruz stays back and wins the race, Sterling tries to switch sides and get Cruz to become his primary racer. But Tex Dinoco comes to the rescue and buys Rusty's from Sterling. But there is something else going on with Mr. Sterling, because if you take a closer look, when McQueen enters his office, you can see a photo of Sterling and Axelrod in the background, which makes me think they might be connected. If Sterling also had something to do with the Lemon Car gang, he is even more evil than we might have thought. You probably think it doesn't get any worse now, but joke's on you, it does. Because the next group of villains have no limits. They would go as far as killing themselves just to stop other cars. The explosive trucks are the bad guys in the Cars video game franchise. They are also part of the Lemon Cars gang and work for Zundap. They are angry trucks with petrol barrels behind them, and their goal is to blow up players. What makes the explosive trucks even crazier is that they also die when they attack players, which makes them kind of kamikaze-ish. Next up is yet another car that wanted to take another car's life. In this case, it was against our friend Mater. Mr. Thunder is the supervillain from the Cars, Radiator Springs comic book franchise who wants to take over the world. During Mater's secret agent days, he was tasked with taking Mr. Thunder down, but when he gets to his secret lair deep in the Snow Mountains, Thunder's minions capture Mater, and he tries to kill him with an igniter. Luckily for him, McQueen comes to the rescue and blows up the entire evil lair. Mr. Thunder looks very much like Chick Hicks, so it is quite possible that he is just another character from Mater's imagination. But if you thought Mr. Thunder's story was weird, it's one thing to go against a ghost, but it is a whole different problem when the villain is the government. In the episode Unidentified Flying Mater from the Mater Tall Tales series, a UFO named Mater lands on Earth and becomes friends with Mater. But not long after, the United States military kidnapped Mater to carry out experiments. Mater then tries to talk to the scientists, but they find it difficult to communicate with him, so they invite Dr. Abschlepp Wagen, who is actually Mater in disguise, to help translate. Mater then helps Mater escape, but the military forces chase them down, alongside McQueen, who pops out from nowhere. Mater's mama ship then arrives and saves the trio from the military. But now that you have heard about all the Cars villains, I'm curious which one you find the most evil. Was it Chick Hicks with his dirty tricks, or Sir Axelrod's fake eco scam? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But now that you've heard about Axelrod and Sterling's possible secret friendship, you might want to know more about that. Well, good news, because I created a video about that as well. Make sure to check that one out, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.